both players at 5-0 right now.
It's like nothing too fancy for our Death and Taxes player. A couple main deck Mirror and Crusader. You don't always see that.
Heavy on Roukas here. He's going all the way up to 3 copies. Could be a liability here. We'll start the game. Sam with a Gitaxian Probe. We see a Wasteland and a Rishadan Port, so no white mana, and that's because there's an Aether Vial in the opener. With that, he has a curve of creatures. He has Thalia, Flicker Wisp, Sanctum Prelate, and Palace Jailer. So a nice 2-3-4 off the Vial.
So I mentioned that this isn't the best matchup for Therapy, but if Sam has one and names Vial, that shuts this hand off.
It'd be really strong. You know, even if he has a Force of Will in the opener, I just assume that's going to be fired off.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's a Cabal Therapy. Yeah, let's... Ooh, that die roll going to pay off big for Sam.
Yeah. It's basic swamp because you saw the Wasteland. I like that.
Yeah, that's going to be Aether Vial, and he'll take that. So Max, gives a big thumbs up. He's got 2 colorless lands. He needs a Plains. And he draws one.
Smart.
And he's going to conceal it for a turn here by leading on Rishadan Port.
Yeah. Didn't have a Mother of Runes. Nothing to lead on turn 1 there.
Deathrite Shaman from Sam. No second land. He'll pass.
Okay. So Sam's not out of it yet.
See, I like waiting on the Plains. It's maximum tilt equity as well.
Maxwellimum.
What I do is I'll draw it and I'll be like, oh man, top decked it, and then just play the Plains. They never need to know that's not the truth.
I like the playing it as soon as you draw it and telling had it, that one.
Tundra from Sam hits the land up on turn 3. He'll make Stoneforge Mystic.
From here, I guess Sam won't be able to do anything with the Cabal Therapy because of the Thalia, but he does have another one. He could, if he wanted to, exile a land with that Shaman, sacrifice one of these creatures to that Therapy and hit one of those other spells that he saw.
Yeah, so the 3 drops on Max's side, he had a Flicker Wisp and a Sanctum Prelate. Neither of those seem too threatening here. And Sam's going to use the extra mana actually to make another Deathrite Shaman. Just to go back over to Max.
No lands in the graveyard yet, but Sam knows about the Wasteland in Maxwell's hand, so that can turn these on.
Yeah, the Tundra's wasted, but now there's 2 lands for the Deathrite Shaman's upkeep. Max is going to port the Swamp. Sam's going to use that and the Deathrite Shaman to Swords to Plowshares away the Thalia. Draws here. And actually draws a land. He's not going to play Heal Therapy away the Sanctum Prelate. Leaves Flicker Wisp, Wasteland, Palace Jailer, Flicker Wisp.
I smell a flashback.
Yeah, I was going to flash that one back. Let's take care of some Flicker Wisps. And a swing for 1 with the Stoneforge Mystic. So Max's hand now just Wasteland and Palace Jailer. It's going to take a while for him to come up with anything. Yeah, and also, Sam's going to connect with this Umezawa's Jitte before Palace Jailer comes down, and there's some real worry there. Max doesn't want to cast it to make anyone the Monarch because he won't have control of the Monarch.
Yes.
If he makes himself that, then Sam will remove the Palace Jailer, attack, and then he'll become the Monarch and start drawing extra cards.
Especially if you connect with the Jitte and have 2 counters on it, you can just kill the Jailer, make it really easy to attack.
Yeah. You see Jitte into play here.
Yeah, because there were no lands in the graveyard, he couldn't use the Shaman. I guess you need the Shaman mana one way or the other if you're going to suit up the Jitte that turn anyway. So he wasn't able to make a connection just yet.
Well, here's Palace Jailer from Max. He's going to make the play. See what he targets. Deathrite Shaman. Sam says, yeah, that's fine. Max becomes the Monarch. So the player who's the Monarch draws a card at the end of a turn. The way you become the Monarch is by dealing combat damage to the Monarch.
Brainstorm for Sam. He'd love to find a Swords to Plowshares here.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Barring that, you could see him suit up the Stoneforge Mystic and simply trade the creatures.
Sure. Yeah, if he had some kind of backup that becomes more inviting. Looks like potential things he found were another Stoneforge Mystic and a Ponder. Not much action off the Brainstorm.
So block. The Stoneforge dies in combat. 2 counters on the GT. One of them is removed. -1/-1. And so now you see Tyler Shaman put under the Monarch. The only way Sam can have his Shaman back is he must take the crown.
That's a political prisoner. You got to change leadership to have it released.
And Rashad Port will tap down the swamp. Maybe he could have picked if he picked the plains, that's what would have stopped this.
Getting a little punished for the choice of port target.
Yeah, he'll just Swords to Plowshares it anyway, I suppose.
Not an issue.
These extra cards from his fiefdom.
One-sided Howling Mind, pretty powerful.
It's the king controls lands. He is paid, you know. This is the tribute that his subjects are paying him. 1 card per turn. And he'll make Mirran Crusader. Only 1 counter on the GT. Can't remove the Crusader just yet. And Sam passes.
Crusader, the fastest clock in the Death and Taxes deck.
The crushing weight of the monarchy is proving to be too much for Sam Roukas to overcome. A swing for 4 will put Sam down to 14. And here's Mother of Runes. That'll protect Mirran Crusader. Sam draws. It looks like, yeah, upkeep Maxwell wanted to tap the swamp. That means Sam has no plays.
Yeah. Not a huge difference between doing that draw step or upkeep.
Crusader again, Sam down to 10. And makes Karakas, floating a mana, makes second Karakas, casts Sword of Fire and Ice. And you see just how much Max is really paying for that land there. He chose to port when he could have even equipped the Sword of the Mirran Crusader and just he's fine with that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's already drawing extra cards every turn because of the Monarch, and it's lethal next turn by equipping, but it wasn't lethal that turn.
Yeah, and you know, Max is going to go ahead and take the first game. It was one where, especially when you saw that flashback Cabal Therapy taking all the Flicker Wisps, it really felt like this one was going to go Sam Roukas' way.
Yeah, and that just kind of shows you, in Legacy, you have to manage mana and the battlefield. If one is out of control, your opponent can start being in a position where they hammer your mana and your creatures.
Now, I was wondering, how do you feel then about when the Flashback Therapy taking double Flicker Wisp? It's really appealing there. It's a 2-for-1. If you can't beat the Palace Jailer, do you have to take Jailer there instead?
Certainly possible, especially with GT. GT is pretty good against Flicker Wisp, and it's less good against Jailer. I think you're absolutely right.
Well, let's go ahead over the sideboards. We'll start with Sam Roukas on Esper Deathblade. Sideboard has 3 copies of Meddling Mage, 2 Rest in Peace, 2 Engineered Explosives, a Hydroblast. You were looking, I know that you win with a Blue Blast. Not gonna come in. But they're out there.
They exist.
They exist, we confirm. Flusterstorm, Back to Basics, Sword of Fire and Ice, Toxic Deluge, Zealous Persecution, Council's Judgment, and Disenchanted. There's actually a lot I like here.
Yeah, a couple pretty nice things. Explosives is all right, a little slow, but it can be multiple cards for 1 card. Sword of Fire and Ice, pretty reasonable against any of these creature matchups. Doesn't grant relevant protection, but if you connect with it, it just kind of closes the game, but also outsizes whatever is suited up.
Yeah, 2 damage is enough to remove any of the creatures in Max's deck.
Right. You're playing a lot fewer creatures in Death and Taxes, so Toxic Deluge can be pretty easy to leverage here. Zealous Persecution actually better in this role, so that one's for sure coming in. And Council's Judgment to deal with creature, Ether Vial, equipment, that all plays. Disenchant's also fine. Dealing with the Vial or equipment, pretty good.
Now on Max's side, he's got 2 copies of Gideon, ally of Zendikar, 2 Containment Priest, Ethers from Canist, Rest in Peace, and then some 1-ofs in Seal of Cleansing, a extra sword, that's from the Sword of War and Peace, a Magus the Moon, a Council's Judgment, a Fairy Macabre, a Dismember, and an Orzhov Pontiff.
Good chance you want to reach for things like Seal of Cleansing and or Council's Judgment against any other Stoneforge Mystic deck. You can kind of check those kinds of things. I like Gideon Allies Zendikar against these kill spell decks. It won't line up against Monastery Mentor necessarily the best, but against their interaction with your stuff, you can take over a game with Gideon pretty easily. Kind of into Dismember because it's another Stoneforge Mystic deck. Killing Deathrite Shaman also matters a good amount.
Yeah, there's enough between Shaman and Mentor. I think I agree where I just like this 1 mana removal spell.
Yep.
Oh, right, for second game, Sam will be back on the play. Now, StarCityGames.com, we have Star City Games Game Night. That's at stores all around the country. You can win exclusive pins and tokens as prizes just for playing in your local stores events. Now, the beginning of October, we introduced the Vampire Night Fox. There's still a few days left. You have until Tuesday to win one of those. Next month, we'll be giving away the Tarmogoyf. That is the beginning of every Tarmogoyf. Suppose when Tarmogoyfs are put to rest in peace, they stay as 0/1. You can win that one starting in November. That will be given away at game night. And in December, we have our Akroken Crusader, the 1/1 soldier here from Theros, straight from the pond. You can win those. Find a game night near you or get your store signed up at starcitygames.com/game night.
Yeah, Tarmogoyf. That's actually the reason that Temur Delver used to board out Tarmogoyf against Miracles.
Yeah.
They would always rest in peace you, and they'd look really smug about it, but then you had your Tarmogoyfs in your sideboard and you beat them up with a Sulfur Elemental, and who was smug then? It was me.
Your Nimble Mongoose still, was he also in the sideboard then?
No, that guy still attacks for one.
That sounds great.
You force him to have Terminus for every Mongoose
so
you
when
draw.
You're a deck with 12 creatures and Rest in Peace makes 4 of them terrible. That's...
Well, the thing about it was they didn't.
You only have 4 left.
They didn't main deck Rest in Peace.
Okay.
So it was only in the sideboard games, and you just board out Tarmogoyf, and then the matchup was fine.
I'm still not sold on this Nimble Mongoose.
I have attack with Nimble Mongoose, probably the average power at 1.4. It's closer to 1 than 3.
Turn 1 Deathrite Shaman for Sam will meet a turn 1 Aether Vial from Max. So mana working on both sides of the battlefield here. I can concur that with Nimble Mongoose. That guy, I see that attack for 3 far more often, or for 1.
Yeah.
Sword of Fire and Ice, turn 2 sword here from Sam.
Suiting that up on the Deathrite Shaman as early as turn 3, that applies a lot of pressure.
Well, I like that. If Max's play was just to make a Stoneforge Mystic, say, to block, there's no good way out here. You lose the Mystic no matter how you play it.
Right, you just have to, you're forced to block, and that's fine for Sam.
Yeah, so Max here challenged Sam to have a 3rd land. He Rashad ported an upkeep, but Sam did have the 3rd land, which means he's now equipping sword to the Deathrite Shaman, swings in, gets 5 damage and a card.
Build your own Monarch. Came online a little bit faster than Palace Jailer.
It's the sad truth of things that swords often replace crowns.
This is nice though, because Max did have Mother Runes. He has that in. He can use that to start giving creatures protection from green or black, trying to make blocks on this sword now.
And the Mother Runes no longer summoning sick. Swords to Plowshares takes care of Deathrite Shaman. Rashad poured up. Max will Vile Thalia into play, port a land. All right, you know, things started out kind of weak, but now there's a Thalia protected by a Mother of Runes and 2 Rashad ports going. I like where Max stands.
Oh yeah. Yeah, 1 more land next turn, and he'll really be firmly in the driver's seat.
Yeah, Sam will look for something like Toxic Deluge.
Yep, that or Zealous Persecution here would be really good.
That would be great. Yeah, especially because the instant speed means that you can't really port Sam off that mana anyway.
Right.
He'll make Deathrite Shaman and equip it. That'll also help him get out from under this mana crunch he's in. He's now up to 5 sources to untap with. Third Rashad port for Max.
ample mana for the second.
Yeah, his hand's got a Mother of Runes. Looks like he can cast here. Got a Stoneforge Mystic, so he will have some damage soon. 1 port on upkeep. We'll tap down the Underground Sea. And Deathrite Shaman will go to work, makes 4 mana. Here is Toxic Deluge.
Yikes.
Ooh. Sam can pay for it. He'll pay X equals 1.
Good number. They have to use the Shaman to cast it, but that's not a huge cost.
There will be plenty of time for Sword of Fire and Ice hits after this play. And he'll just say go. He's cleaned up the board. Max play Vile Stoneforge Mystic in at end of turn. Just 2 cards left in his hand.
Shaman won't have protection from germ tokens, so that's nice.
Right, so he gets a Batter Skull. The 4/4 could still block here.
He's got GT at the front of his deck, which means it's possible he's already drawn Batter Skull. Looking at his other options here.
Yeah, because there's the sword on the Shaman, he can't just untap GT, equip, swing, and remove the Shaman. It has too many points of toughness. He's going to get Sword of Fire and Ice. That suggests his last card might be land 5.
Sure. Yeah, he could be looking to just suit up and have dueling swords going. One thing about getting the Batter Skull is if Sam just had a Swords to Plowshares for the germ, he could really pressure you way too much too quickly.
Yeah. Shake of the head on Max's side. He was looking for something, and I don't think he hit it. Just says go. Ports 1 land.
So the Vial went up to 3 here. If Max has a
like,
Flicker Wisp, that
like,
could really mess up combat here.
It's like, this has got to be a Flicker Wisp. This getting Sword doesn't make any sense if he doesn't have one. Deathrite Shaman attacks. Max is going to... Okay, the Batter Skull's in his hand. There we go. But Sam at the ready with Swords to Plowshares. Sends Max up to 19, but now we'll hold. We'll see in response to the swords. Does Max have the Batter Skull and the Flicker Wisp? That is not Flicker Wisp, but that is. He will Flicker Wisp away the Deathrite Shaman.
Thankfully, you can't actually vial in swords.
What? That wouldn't even be good.
Exactly. Well, because he already put it on the table.
Yeah.
You know?
And Sam's going to Brainstorm post-combat. He's in a tricky spot. The Deathrite Shaman enters the battlefield on his end step. And if Max draws that, even without drawing land, he can suit up that sword and go.
Shaman enters unequipped.
Yeah.
Things are looking really good for Maxwell here.
So Stoneforge will put the sword into play. 2 mana, could equip it to the Flicker Wisp, and Sam's Swords to Plowshares is in response.
That's good for now.
Yeah, well, that's just a good spot. No, it's just a good spot for Sam.
Suiting up with the sword now, that takes care of Stoneforge Mystic.
It feels both players have been fighting to be the first one to connect with that sword on this board, and it looks like Sam is going to be the one to do it. So Sam equips the sword, attacks for 3, draws a card, and he shoots down the Stoneforge Mystic. Another Stoneforge in play for Sam. This time gets GT.
That's going to make it really hard for Max to get anything to get an equipment on.
Well, Max has about 1 turn to do it here. If he doesn't hit a creature this turn, you're going to see GT counters start to accumulate there, and then none of the creatures will be able to hold the sword. Let's see, what? 1 draw.
Doesn't look thrilled about it.
No, he'll pick up the cards. We're going to game 3.
Yeah, that Toxic Deluge for Sam, pretty impactful there when it cleaned up the Thalia and both the Mother of Runes. Game got a little bit out of control from there, and in the Battle of the Equipments, the double Swords to Plowshares from Sam allowed him to push Max back far enough and pull it out.
They're going to re-sideboard for game number 3. Now, in just 2 short weeks, we have the next Star City Games event. It is going to be Grand Prix Atlanta.
On November 10th through the 12th, make plans to be part of Magic the Gathering history when StarCityGames.com proudly presents Grand Prix Atlanta. Play in the standard format main event to compete for thousands of dollars in prizes and a spot on the Magic the Gathering Pro Tour. Select the 3-day Infinite Challenge package to compete in all challenge events for one low price, while also walking away with the exclusive Sunblessed Mount playmat. Get the best of both worlds with the Main Event Plus package. Play in the main event, get the exclusive playmat, and compete in challenge events all weekend long. All Friday challenges are also Grand Prix trials. Come out early and compete for buys in the main event and more chances to claim a Sunblessed Mount playmat. Prefer 100-card formats? Register for the Ultimate Commander package to play in 4 Commander on-demand events and take home a Commander vs. playmat and Ultimate Guard Boulder deck case. Want to play on Magic's grandest stage? Compete in the Pro Tour qualifier on Sunday and receive a Progenitus foil promo just for playing, plus the chance for an invitation to Pro Tour Rivals of Ixalan in Bilbao, Spain. And don't forget to come say hello to Grand Prix Atlanta's many special guests, including cosplayer Christine Sprankle and an artist alley full of fan favorites, headlined by guest of honor Therese Nielsen. Be part of Magic the Gathering history. Register for Grand Prix Atlanta today.
So that's going to be Grand Prix Atlanta coming up in just 2 weeks. Get a chance to try out some of the new Pro Tour decks, with the Pro Tour coming up next weekend in Standard. It's going to be the first time in a while where the Pro Tour has been about a full month since the set release.
Yeah, they started pushing those back, get a little bit more time to play with the format before the Pro Tour. See which build of Teamer Energy you want to play.
It looks like that will be one of the more popular decks. It's interesting, it has different skills than that it rewards. When I was playing Pro Tours, they were always just, really close right after release weekend. So it was really rewarding the teams of deck builders and innovators. This seems like it'll play toward the metagamers.
Yeah, the metagamers, and also just players that take a little more repetition to become very good at their decks.
I would be way worse. I always liked that they were as close to the release as possible. I felt that I was more comfortable with that.
I like building new decks, but I gotta say I'm one of the repetition players. I perform way better in Modern and Legacy than I do in Standard on average.
I was noticed that with drafting. When I was playing, the longer the set was out, my win percentage would just slowly drop. Which is okay. Week 1 was really nice.
I think that's true for me in Limited, just because I can play more abstract Limited better. If you spend a lot of time and you know a lot of archetypes, sometimes I'll open a pack that you could win with, and I look at it and I'm like, these are all unplayable.
I can invent an archetype on the fly. Okay, I can make something work that's not supposed to work. But if once the people who play 50 drafts or so, they don't need to invent anymore. They just learn what the archetypes are. Right. That's when I start losing.
Yep. I don't collect a lot of trophies for Limited. I'll say that.
Max on the play here for the 3rd game. He'll start with turn 1 Aether Vial. And Engineered Explosives on 1 from Sam. Okay, that will answer the Vial.
Yep, this will offset a lot of this. Have a basic island too, so he should be able to pop that next turn.
Yeah, well, I like this a lot. I mean, it also hinges Max from being able to make Mother Runes off Vial or otherwise.
Yeah. Can't respond to explosives by putting it in, because then it just dies. And if it resolves, you can't put it in.
You see Thalia turn 2 play here from Max. The Thalia Engineer Explosives is one of my favorite interactions that you see in Legacy. Yeah.
The extra mana you pay counts as the colors spent on the Sunburst.
The effect is that Engineer Explosives has protection from Thalia.
Pretty much. Unless you don't know how the rules work.
And you're right, you can pay more.
You can put the wrong number of counters on your Engineered Explosives.
If you want explosives at 1, what you do is you declare it at 0, and then you just pay 1.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, well, 1 color, I guess it has 1 counter. Thalia attacks. Sam was attempting to brainstorm here. The judge is going to give him a caution here. He attempted to brainstorm off single island into a Thalia.
It seems to be a little question after whether he has to.
Yeah, whether he has to make the play now or whether he
Right.
can take it back. We'll await the judge's ruling on that one. Max had on turn 3 play. He had a Wasteland, but Sam's on all basics right now. So the judge rules, it's a simple rewind. He was attempting to cast Brainstorm for a cost that he couldn't cast it for, so he is allowed to make a different decision.
Yep, that tracks.
He's going to cast Stoneforge Mystic instead. Getting GT. Yeah, I mean, when you have a third land in your hand and you don't remember the Thalia, then brainstorming into Stoneforge sounds great here. Especially if maybe you don't have the third land, you're hoping to hit it. You ping 2 for the Brainstorm, not very into that.
Nope.
And then Deathrite Shaman will join the Stoneforge.
When your deck has a high density of removal spells, generally you wait to cast a Brainstorm until you can answer the Thalia anyway.
Max answering on unstep. A 2-mana Swords to Plowshares takes care of the Stoneforge Mystic. Wasteland takes care of the duel. And he'll swing in for 2 again. Another 2-mana Swords to Plowshares takes care of the Deathrite Shaman. He is going after Sam's mana in a big way. And now Sam, he'll make the 2-mana Brainstorm.
At least one land was picked up there. The one that I saw was a Tundra that does not produce black mana, but yeah, there's a Flooded Strand in the mix as well. So he could have all of his colors.
Flooded Strand says go. Would have loved to have a Deathrite Shaman there.
Right.
Swing puts Sam down 2 more to 15. Gained some life there off all those Swords to Plowshares. And now it's Mother of Runes from Max.
A lot of basic planes.
Yeah, it's Legacy. Both players play basic planes
That
in
is
multiples.
The worst widely played land in the format.
Sam only plays 1.
That's
Max
got-
plays 9.
One is my ceiling. I think that it's a big ask to get me to put up planes in my deck.
So I like to mod my lands. I own 0 modified planes. I've never. The day will come when I have to register a deck, and then I'll make them. But I haven't had to yet, and it's been about 2 years since I've been doing it. White plays Fair Magic, and Fair Magic is boring. Here's Monastery Mentor from Sam. This game just comes down to creature combat. Mentor will do just fine.
Yep. It's hard to go off for a ton against Thalia, but when you start making tokens, you do pull ahead slowly.
Sam down to 12.
Yeah, he's enough life to take a few more hits here while he sets up.
Right.
That Jite in his hands, good for a monk. It's also good for a Jite.
Yeah, I mean, Sam's just looking to connect with a Jite, and when he does, that's going to be his win con here. Flicker Wisp from Max. He's going to target his own planes, and they'll bring it back, and he'll say go.
Yeah. No really effective use of the Flicker Wisp there because of Thalia. That planes doesn't mean anything.
Brainstorm from Sam brings along a monk token, still paying 2.
I think that's the first time I've seen the Brian Koval token on camera from his invitational win in season 1.
Looks like we have another Monastery Mentor is picked up by Sam. He'll fetch down to 12. Gotta be careful here, though, that he doesn't take too much damage.
Flicker Wisp is a flyer. Had to be a little bit concerned.
And 2 Mentors can close out the game real quickly. Looks like he'll cast Ponder for another monk token. The Mentor now up to a 4/4.
Yeah.
He's going to shuffle.
With all of these lands, he's setting up to actually play and equip Jite on the same turn. You can't punch through against Mother of Runes just with Jite on its own.
Yeah.
Good chance he's looking to draw Zealous Persecution so he can just break through this board and win easily.
He also at one point had a Jace the Mind Sculptor. Now he's resolved Brainstorm since then, so it's not clear if that's there. You see he makes Deathrite Shaman. But with 5 mana and a Shaman, he's getting to the point where he could cast a 4-mana Planeswalker even through Thalia.
Right.
Flicker Wisp will hit Sam down to 8. Stoneforge Mystic will join Max. Has quite the board going. See what he wants to get. I wouldn't mind some equipment that could move its way onto Flicker Wisp. And
yeah, GT or sort of Fire and Ice, I think, look a little bit better than Batterskull on this board.
Yeah, there's just so many 1/1s. Batterskull would gain max life, and he's going to go a different route. It's going to be sort of War and Peace. This is out of the sideboard. If you want to talk about closing out a game, this one can do it in one hit.
Yeah. Sam still has a couple of cards in his hand, and it's difficult to empty it with Thalia on the battlefield.
So many lands for Sam. 6 and the Shaman. See if he has some of that late game. Looks like he's gotten rid of the Jace on a Brainstorm a while ago. He's got another Monastery Mentor, a Disenchant, and a Council's Judgment.
If he Judgments away the Thalia, then he can leave up Disenchant. And just in terms of mana efficiency, that could be the play. There's an argument for getting the Flicker Wisp off the battlefield, though.
Yeah, it is interesting. I was going to say, I like that. At the same time, he may just lose to a 3-power flyer on that line. And he's going to make Monastery Mentor and just say go. It looks like he's trying to get that Disenchant to convert. Max plays land. Stoneforge puts the sword into play. Remember, Sword of War and Peace gives protection from white. Sam has only Deathrite Shaman that can stand in the way of that.
Right. And if you put it on the Flicker Wisp, it just gets to punch through.
Right. He's paying a lot of respect to the equipment. Flicker Wisp attacks for 3. Sam down to 5. Sam's lining up, looks like Council's Judgment for the Flicker Wisp and plus Disenchant.
Amusingly, Sam tapped a Tropical Island, but there's no creatures in the graveyards. Swords of Plowshare is the only removal spell that's been used this game.
Yeah, so he can't gain 2, and he has to. The only play he has available is to drain Max down to 18. Council's Judgment for 4 makes 2 Monk tokens. And we have to start watching at how fast Sam just has a 20-point swing. With 2 Monastery Mentors, this is pretty real. Stoneforge Mystic's activated.
Yeah, he activates in response in case the Mystic goes and he can't put in the sword. This opens up the possibility to vote for the sword.
But Sam will take care of the Flicker Wisp anyway. He's holding that Disenchant for the sword.
Yep, and with the Deathrite Shaman, he has enough mana to do that.
Says go. Back to Max. Max has plenty of cards in hand right now.
Yeah, he's missed land drops for a few turns here.
Puts sword on Thalia, and this is what Sam wanted. He's going to get to turn the corner very big off this Disenchant. I don't have a count on how much damage his counter swing is for, but it's significant.
Yeah. At their base, he has 8 points of Mentors and Monks.
Well, and he'll have 10 after the Disenchant. Yeah.
Yep. A lot of draws that convert into multiple pumps on the following turn. Zealous Conscripts Zealous Persecution would just be lethal here.
I guess 8. You said 10 just would be the base. 8 creatures. Well, 1 spell is 18, which is Max's life total. So swing, and now here's the play from Sam. The Disenchant removes the sword and makes 2 more Monks. It's a big turnaround for Sam.
You're at a crossroads for Max. He could tap the Mother to give the Thalia Pro white so it doesn't die, but the Thalia is not worth too much.
Looks like Sam blocked and then made the play. So his Deathrite Shaman is down. 2 mana up for Max. He could have a Batterskull in play.
Some kind of blue card picked up for Sam.
Cavern Souls is set to human. Here's a blue card. How about a sword? Sword of Fire Ice for Sam. So that's the prowess that brings him up to 18 points worth of attackers. He's going to equip it to a Monk token. We'll see if he swings the team. And yeah, that's going to be the team. So this is 18 points. Make that 20 after the sword. So Max will have to make some blocks.
Yep. Not wise to let the Sword of Fire and Iced up Monk through.
Yeah, I agree. I'd advise against that one.
Total damage is 16 otherwise.
If he has the Batterskull in hand, Max should be able to get through this, but he does not. Makes a pair of blocks. Makes that. He's counting here. Be letting 5 monks and then a mentor through. That's 7. Make that 13. He'd go to 5. Stoneforge is going to put something into play. It's sort of Fire Ice. And Mother of Runes is going to save herself.
I think that Max just won the game. Sword of Fire and Ice, equipped to Thalia, Mother of Runes on the Thalia. That's 6.
That looks good. And that's going to be the equip, the pro white, and the swing. Max Paustian going to win this one in 3. Takes down Sam Roukas, and he improves to 6-0.
Yeah, really well navigated there.
Wow, and the turnaround there for Max. He had to naturally have another equipment in hand. But doing that, he's able to survive that alpha and does get the win.